Much like the Simagic GT Neo became one of the very best value wheels out there today, the Simagic Neo X is now going to join it as one of the very best value hubs. Button plates or hubs do a simple job, provide you with just the buttons and switchgear that you need, so you can top it off with a mix and match wheel rim that you want. The Neo X is really cheap for something of this category, $199 before tax, and the optional range of shifter paddle kits are pretty cheap too, allowing me to put this dual paddle, Neo X and cube control rim combo together for less than $400 before tax, for example. It's pretty decent value for a general purpose hub that's compatible with Simagic's own wheelbases, obviously, using its QR and central data connector, but also compatible with other wheelbases from other brands, thanks to its Maglink connector and interchangeable QR and Sim Hub compatibility. It just comes across as relatively cheap, fun, functional, crowd pleasing, and not full of itself. So let's take a look. Now before I go on, please be aware that as per usual with hardware reviews, Simagic has provided the Neo X shown here free for review. Nonetheless, if you know me, then you know I have no issue highlighting the good and the bad if it's there, and Simagic has left me to it. All words are my own. This video is marked as a paid promotion owing to the fact that the equipment was provided for review free of charge, but bear in mind, this is a review, not an ad. Watch the whole video through before making any decisions, but if you do decide to buy a Neo X, then you'll find affiliate links in the description below that describe where you can buy this stuff, and there's also a general reseller link in there too. Don't forget to check whether there's a dealer in your region that's more convenient for you that isn't listed in the description. Because I'm recording this before the Neo X has been officially put on sale, all prices mentioned are Simagic's own retail pricing before tax, so your price may vary after regional differences and taxes are included. As standard, the Neo X comes without shifter paddles installed, costing $199 retail as is. Shifter paddle kits cost $40 for the single paddle kit and $55 for the dual paddle kit. More varieties will be available later, but the point is that you get to decide. What you see here is the Neo X with the dual shifter paddle kit and optional Maglink conversion. That's something I've added as I anticipate using the Neo X on a variety of wheelbases in future, totaling $274 before tax for a button plate teeming with features and compatible with any quick release platform using the standard bolt pattern. That means you don't need to have a Simagic wheelbase to have the Neo X. You can put this on a VRS, Moser, Fanatec, Logitech Pro, any system that possesses a standard bolt pattern hub or quick release adapter, provided you're going to be connecting it to a PC, of course. If I chose to do so, I could take this Simagic quick release off of the Neo X and install a VRS hub instead. It's something I've done previously with the GT Neo, which uses a very similar, if not identical, backplate. So this is a wonderful element of the Neo X that you can replace the QR that's included with it. And the fact that the Neo X includes the QR just adds to the value of it. In this video though, I'm just going to be using it natively on the Simagic Alpha U wheelbase that you will see throughout this video. A review on that is also underway. Looking at the overall construction, the casing is made of a sort of ruggedized carbon fiber composite plastic. As you can see, it's essentially a reinforced, ruggedized plastic molded shell. But the central backbone, the actual structure of the Neo X, the bit that's taking all the strain, is actually a steel spine. That steel structure that's concealed within the plastic shell is what actually bears the load. That's what handles all the torque. That's what keeps it all together. So it should, in theory, be perfectly capable of handling high torque wheelbases. I've been testing this on the Alpha U, set to around about 20 Newton meters, and I've found no issues, no flex, no creaks, no trademark plastickiness that you may fear would happen. The illuminated push buttons have a shallow and crisp pop to them. The rotary dials feel firm with pronounced steps. You have two aluminium dials and two illuminated plastic rotaries on the bottom quarters. A multi-way funky switch is placed either side of the rev strip. Whilst it's short of a couple of buttons compared to the usual types of wheels I've used, like the VRS Formula or Simagic GT Neo, there's not really room for much more. The button plates are condemned to keep the front section clear and free of buttons so that they play nicely with a variety of custom rims. Stickers are supplied so you can label the buttons, but I have had a few that just would not stay convincingly stuck and have fallen off once or twice. I didn't have this issue with the GT Neo, so I'm thinking maybe I should have actually cleaned the buttons first, just in case there were any manufacturing solvents still present or anything like that, so make sure you do that. The shifter pedals are excellent, very clear, crisp, but also quiet, very quiet. One of the quietest and nicest shifter pedals I've used. This is something that they highlight on the box, so Simagic is clearly appealing to the low noise crowd. I hate loud shifters, so I love these. The dual clutch pedals are very smooth and free flowing too. Installing the paddle shifter kit takes about 5 minutes. It's a little bit fiddly, but not complex. Overall, the shifter pedals pass the quality feeling check. Just an honourable mention while I'm at it, because when I was testing out the Neo X for the first time, the first thing I tried with it was this rim. This is the Simagic P330R rim. It's a suede / Alcantara rim, and I was trying to figure out why it felt so nice, why it felt so plush, and this is the reason why. It's because there's no stitching near the thumb contact areas. No stitching at all. As you can see there, that's where the stitching basically stops, and that's where you would normally grip the wheel, so there's no stitching under your thumb like I'm so used to. I don't know, maybe I'm easily impressed, but this is now an attribute that I'm going to be looking for because it just feels really nice. And I'm not precious about Alcantara or suede or anything like that. I'll happily use it without gloves and just clean it up every now and then so that it comes up like new. So this was really nice for me. So if you're looking for a cheap, comfortable round rim, this is well worth a shot. In Simagic software, SimPro, you can make changes to the button lights, clutch paddle settings, rev limiter lights, and trigger points. Numerous things can be tweaked, and to a fair degree. It's also possible to assign some of the illuminated buttons to react to simulation telemetry, such as ABS, pit limiter status, traction control, flags. Some of these will be dependent upon whether the game you're playing passes this information on. For example, iRacing does not pass on traction control telemetry, so that won't work, but ABS would. If you stick with SimPro, you'll get simple but capable lighting customization. However, you can unlock a lot more lighting customization if you connect the Neo X to your PC via USB directly. That's where Maglink steps in, allowing it to communicate with SimHub. If you're not familiar with SimHub, it's a third-party program which has become one of the backbones of sim racing hardware by offering incredible functionality and customizability through its detailed and open platform. There are a huge number of devices designed with SimHub compatibility in mind, and they are all the better for it. If you hate tinkering, you probably won't be interested in going there, and sticking with SimPro is totally fine. But if you like the idea of plotting and designing your very own bespoke colour themes and lighting actions, then you'll love SimHub, such as flashing the buttons on one side of a wheel when a car is alongside you, or flashing the buttons across the entire wheel when the rev limit is reached, just to scratch the surface. SimHub can't communicate with your wheel if it's just connecting through the built-in data connector on a Simagic wheelbase. That's why you have to use the outboard USB connection instead to bypass it. This is just the way it has to be with Simagic for now, unfortunately. If you're connecting the Neo X to a non-Simagic wheelbase, then you don't have to worry about it. You'll have access to SimHub by default because you are connecting it directly to the PC. If you're going the third-party or SimHub route, Simagic's Maglink kit replaces the USB-C slot with a magnetic contact plate instead, which is super strong and is never disconnected during use, but is still able to be unlinked by hand or snap free if something goes wrong to protect the kit. It's well worth the $20 or so, certainly priced fairly for the contents of the kit. So, are there any unforeseen quirks or cons that don't show up by eye that you might need to know? With the 330mm P330R wheel, everything is pretty much fine. Shifter and clutch paddles are perfectly reachable owing to the choices and adjustability in the kit, and the distance between rim and buttons is comfortable for the thumbs to pop over and reach. If you're looking to use a typical round wheel, I think you'll be pleased. I can't see any glaring issues here. With the 300mm Cube Controls GT0 rim, things are great, but they do get a little bit more close quarters. Visually, it's like these were made for each other, and it's a great combo. I'm using the supplied spacers to bring my shifters closer to my hands, and it feels great for me. But as you can see, there is a potential pinch point just above the thumb rest. I do, on occasion, worry about some kind of random force feedback spike taking me completely by surprise, flinging the wheel around before I've got any chance to react and taking my fun with it as it gets wedged between the wheel and the button module. This just seems to be a common issue when you start mixing button plates and smaller GT style open top rims. I've had the same thing before with other button plate and rim combos, not just this one. Now I've been wanting an excuse to use this Cube Control Zero rim for some time. And that's what leads people to button plates. That's what leads people to look for things like the Neo X hub. If you happen to just stumble upon a rim like this that you just kind of like the look of and you want to use it on your rig, the Neo X is now a really nice value way to achieve exactly that. Not many button plates will give you this much for the money, and that's its big draw. The biggest issue with button plates and hubs like this is that you are possibly putting two items together that have never met before. So I don't know if there's anyone else out there that will put together a Neo X and a Cube Controls GT0 rim. So I'm doing it, and I'm telling you that for the most part it works fine. But if you're happening to put together a combination that you haven't seen done before, just be aware that you might be the first to find out that it just doesn't work, that it's ergonomically awkward or just doesn't gel well together. Luckily this one fits snugly, seems to fit really well, but you could just have to find out the hard way. When it comes to Simagic, durability and warranty are probably my biggest areas of scrutiny. They pack a lot in for the price, but nothing comes for free. The warranty is 1 year long, which is well within expectations for something of this value and not really a problem, but when some others are offering 2 or even 3 year warranties on equipment, this is something to bear in mind when opting for Simagic's feature heavy but price light hardware. Overall, in conclusion, it's priced low, simple, modular and cross-compatible. There's not really much more you can ask for. Just as the GT Neo became my choice for best value wheel, the Neo X has become my best value hub. A really strong option if you've got your eye on a particular custom rim out there. For the price, it's one of the cheapest ways to do the job. It's just a nice bonus that it has some character. That's it. I hope this was entertaining and informative, but any questions or anything you think I missed, feel free to ask and I can get back to you. Cheers again.